Welcome back for another video. Next up in the pre-season series, it's the ultimate chip strategy guide. Where should you use your chips in the first half of the season? What's the best weeks? If you're not 100% sure, I'm going to lay it all out for you. As a quick refresher for newer players, Wildcard gives you unlimited transfers, the most powerful chip in the game, so you need to get that one right. Free Hit also gives you unlimited transfers, but only for building a temporary squad that lasts 1 week, and then your team reverts back to how it was before you activate the chip the next game week. Triple Captain, very simple. Your captain earns triple instead of double points, and Bench Boost, also very simple. You earn whatever points your bench scores for that game week. What's more complicated is exactly when these chips should be deployed. And this is one of the biggest edges you can get in FPL, if not the biggest, good use of chips. The boys that I play pro clubs with play FPL very casually, and last season one of them bench boosted in a blank game week without even having a full bench even playing. He'll be watching this, sorry Craig. All chips must be played before the game week 19 deadline. Use them before then or literally you'll lose the chips. That's January 2nd. You can't play 2 chips in 1 week. So let's start with the triple captain. There's 4 players selected here to potentially use it on. I've gone with Haaland and Bruno, the obvious ones. And then just to play devil's advocate, I've also included Saka and Palmer as well. For all we know, like these two could hit some unstoppable form and they could be in the conversation as well. Might not happen, no harm in including them. So what I've done here is I've grabbed those first 19 game weeks from the game week projections ticker, and I've removed any game weeks that don't have triple captain potential. On the tool you can just click the cross by game week to remove a game week, and you can do the same with teams. I'll put the QR code on the screen in a sec if you want to claim the pre-season discount, 92 pence a week, or even cheaper for the season plan. So the game weeks are game week 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 15, 16 and 19. Basically, the teams that make sense to target are the 3 promoted teams, Coventry, Ipswich and Hull. Hull in particular, probably the standout team to target. They finished 6th in the championship, 22 points behind Coventry at the top. They only managed 13 clean sheets in 46 games, and their XG difference was minus 18.2, so they did really well to have an actual goal difference of plus 4. They were the second worst team for expected goals conceded in the entire league if I recall, which is unbelievable. So Haaland, Saka and Palmer all play Hull before game week 19. Bruno doesn't, but he does of course play them away in game week 1, which is the game week 1 triple captain opportunity. Generally speaking though, opting for home games is the best approach. Look at game week 3, 7 and 16 for Haaland here. He's got all 3 promoted teams home at the Etihad, and that's where I'm looking with the triple captainship, Haaland in one of those weeks. The only thing to mention with Haaland, and waiting for that game week 16 fixture home to Hull, is that it's in the very busy winter period where output might dip a little bit relative to the start of the season. Here's a fun stat you might not have seen before. August is Haaland's most productive month of his career. He scores the most at the start of seasons than any other time. And September is where he scores the joint second most goals a month later. So he always gets off to an explosive start and then things slow down a little bit. This kind of lines up with what you might have heard before, and it's helpful to actually see the numbers behind it. But yeah, December, his second quietest month. Again, that could be partly because it's just such a busy time. Like, there's going to be 6 game weeks in December, plus there's a game week, I think it's the 2nd of Jan, plus there's other competitions. Maybe one reason he gets off to such a good start is because obviously I think we've got 9 new managers, or maybe it'll be 10 now after Eddie Howe's replacement. So you've got new managers, new systems. They're all trying to figure each other out and what's changed tactically, and perhaps that just takes a bit of time to figure out. But yeah, Hull home for Man City is the fixture with the single most projected goals, 3.1. And getting back to the other point, the only slight risk waiting until then is you may not have a good option to pivot to if it doesn't work out. You know, like let's say Haaland is benched or he picks up a knock. You don't really have anywhere to go after that week if you can't use it on Haaland. Maybe if Saka's on fire, then he does have Ipswich home game week 19 right before the chip reset. But all things considered, that whole home fixture is the standout. If you want extra help and loads of FPL toys to play with, Fantasy Football Scout are doing 7 months free on membership. There's custom tables, fixture ticker, game week highlights, DEFCON data, genuinely countless other tools. There's a QR code on screen, or just go to s.id/ffscout. That link is down in the description as well. So let's talk bench boost. As a high level overview, it's the game week 1 bench boost, the game week 2 bench boost, or save it until straight after your wildcard. If you are running with 2 playable goalkeepers, then it is possible there's going to be some other game week where everything lines up perfectly for a really strong bench. That is also a week where you could go for it. But if you're running with a 4 mil non-playing backup keeper, then it won't happen. The Game Week 1 bench boost team that I've put together is Raya Williams, Shaw Mosquera, Bruno Szoboszlai, Anderson Gross, Schade, Haaland and João Pedro. So on the bench you've got Verbruggen home to Villa, DCL with Forest away, O'Shea with Sunderland home and Ayer Tottenham home. Nice cheap but strong bench with potential in Game Week 1, and managed to avoid an attacker versus defender here as well to give it some really good upside potential. Schade should be in line to start in Game Week 1 with that home fixture, and he's only 6 mil. There is a slight risk Anthony could share minutes with him off the bench. But with a Game Week 1 bench boost team, it's not a huge issue if he later becomes a dodgy pick. Since you've got that depth to bench him, just start DCL over him for example. But fun fact, Schade was second in the league among midfielders for non-pen XG last season. Only Mbeumo did better than his 11.4 XG. And Dyer is heavily linked with a move away at the time of recording, so he's intentionally been left out. If that falls through, then he's one alternative 6 mil option, and there are others of course. Welbeck has gone to Chelsea, so there's a chance Gross gets some pen share. He's got the corners and free kicks, and no midfielder 5.5 mil and under scored more than his 4.1 points per game last season. The Game Week 2 bench boost I like a little bit more, and this is a slightly alternative team to the one we just had up in a few places. So it's Raya Shaw, Vardiol Mosquera, Bruno Szoboszlai, Anderson Schade, Haaland, João Pedro and Brobby. So the bench is Petrovic home to Everton, Slater with Coventry home, Thomas with Hull home and Coyote Leeds away. As it stands, it looks like Slater could be a 4.5 mil starter for Hull midfield. Crooks as well in fact, one of those two looks like a really good option for the Game Week 2 bench boost. Coventry home to Hull is the one that makes it really appealing because their defenders are only 4 mil. You could go double Coventry defence even, like Maguire and Van Ewijk instead of Shaw and Coyote, and then you've got the double Coventry defence. No problem with that. Just on Vardiol as well, so he's actually made it into my main team. Sam Lee reported the other day that during conversations with Man City, Vardiol was assured of his place as one of the most important players in the squad. Man City consider Vardiol, Foden and Haaland as 3 central pillars under Enzo Maresca, and he's just signed a new contract as well. Obviously interesting comment there about Foden as well, who's 7 mil. I'm wondering if Maresca's favoured backline could actually be O'Reilly, Vardiol, Gay and Kuzanov now. If we look at what Maresca did when he was at Chelsea and Leicester, one of the fullbacks inverts into midfield, so it was James and Pereira. I think at City it could be O'Reilly, and then he likes to have a centre-back playing fullback the opposite side. So yeah, I think Vardiol's a really interesting option, 5.5 mil, a bit cheaper than the other ones as well. Of course, when you're drafting for Game Week 1, every 0.5 mil counts. So let's talk about the wildcard. If you don't go early with the bench boost, the most likely best play is to use the bench boost shortly after your wildcard because you can set up for it nicely. One wildcard window that looks great, and it's quite early on, Game Week 4, because there's some good fixture runs for the following teams in particular: Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, maybe Newcastle, though Eddie Howe has just gone separate ways after 5 years, so let's just see what Newcastle look like. Maybe just a defender like Chow. Maybe new keeper Zhao has claimed the #1 spot by then. He's only 4.5 mil. So you get 3 game weeks of solid information before activating. You can make an argument that that's not enough weeks of information, so that's one reason to potentially delay it. There are some decent fixtures in Game Week 5 to bench boost if you haven't used it by then. In terms of some cheaper bench picks available, as I say, Newcastle have got Hull home, Forest have got Coventry home, Everton have got Ipswich home, Leeds have got Palace home. I'm just looking at projected goals specifically on these ticker screenshots, by the way. Projected clean sheets, also a really important factor. So do give the tool a try on the app or FPL.page. Only 92 pence a week to unlock that and 30 other features, or it's even less on the season plan. I think it's 77p. The official FPL ticker is just not a good way to look at fixture runs because it talks in absolute numbers 1 to 5, and they basically never even use one, which is dark green, and it's just an overall rating rather than attack versus defense. Whereas breaking it down by goals and clean sheets and having, more specific numbers like decimal places is a game changer. The guy who provides the data averages a 1k rank finish the last 4 seasons. So for me, it really is a powerful tool. The Game Week 6 wildcard has a lot of appeal as well if you can delay it a bit further. I think Game Week 4 is going to be really popular for those that got a lot of picks wrong early on. Whereas Game Week 6 is great if you can make it a bit longer. It comes during the really long international break, 3 weeks long in fact. So you get plenty of time to really think about what you want to do. You can catch some price rises, you can avoid some falls, you can react to potential injuries from international games if any. So you load up on more or less the same teams as before, plus Bournemouth in the conversation. Fulham play the 3 promoted teams in a row from that week as well. Loads of cheap options there to bench boost the week after. There are other game weeks that look good, Game Week 7, Game Week 13, even Game Week 16 if you can wait that long. So have a look at those weeks as well. Game Week 7, 13 and 16. There's no harm in not having a specific week in mind penciled in and just wait until you really need it. Like in FPL, you can just start to end up in a position where the issues start to mount. We've all been there. You know, like someone gets injured and you have to replace them first, but you've also got someone else that's really underperforming that needs selling. Oh, and 2 other players in your team are now sitting with horrendous fixtures, etc. Personally, I like to look at a mix, so yeah, when my team starts to feel like it's slipping behind, plus there's a wildcard window like the ones just mentioned coming up. And lastly, free hit. Free hit's my favourite chip because it's the one you can have the most fun with. Wildcard, as I said at the start of the video, is the most powerful, but it's quite high pressure to get it right. Free hit only lasts 1 week, so you can chuck in some fun picks in your team. It's only for 1 week and you get your old team back anyway. So there's 3 game weeks shortlisted again here. Option 1 is Game Week 3, nice and early. This is appealing if you've got lots of Chelsea and Arsenal players in your team. They play each other in Game Week 3, so you hop off those players. It's also a week where Liverpool have got Ipswich, Aston Villa have got Hull. Like Watkins is pretty low ownership, so you can free hit him in for that week. Brighton have got Leeds home. Man City as well, notably home to Coventry. Brentford with Sunderland home. I think those are the main ones. So Kirkes, Bosley, Isak, Watkins, Vaskovic, Haaland, Foden, Semenyo, or a Man City defender. I mean, Thiago, of course, as well, home to Sunderland. He's only 15% owned currently. A lot of people are on a Man City triple up, such as Haaland, Anderson, and a defender, and you could argue that's pretty low upside when you've got a fixture as good as Coventry home. So that could be a week where you go Haaland, Semenyo, Foden instead, right? Game Week 4 the next week is also appealing. It's the opposite way round though. If you don't own many Arsenal and Chelsea, this is strong. Chelsea have got Hull home. Arsenal have got Sunderland away. I know Sunderland's not an easy fixture necessarily. Plus you've got Palace home to Ipswich, Liverpool home to Fulham, Leeds are home to Newcastle, Brighton have got Coventry away. So triple Arsenal, perhaps Sara Mateta, Munoz from Palace, triple Chelsea attack home to Hull. That will be such a fun differential in itself. You know, Rodgers, Palmer, João Pedro perhaps. Liverpool, all those same options mentioned before. Calvert-Lewin if you need a cheap filler for your team. It is the Manchester derby, so there's no harm in keeping Haaland. He's got an amazing record against Man United. But if you've got a City defender, again, you can look elsewhere, take them out on the free hit. I like Game Week 4 more than Game Week 3, but it does depend on your Chelsea and Arsenal player ownership in your team. Lastly, Game Week 13, and this is basically the save it for a rainy day strategy way later in the season, and this is where I'm leaning myself currently. So you save the chip in case of an emergency pops up. Like leagues can present a massive opportunity. Like let's say there's a week where there's a league Haaland and Foden are bench and you own both in your team. You can just free hit them out. Game Week 13 has good fixtures and it does come much later if no emergency arises anyway. Game Week 16 has got similar appeal as well, so I've just included that screenshot as well. It's another one if you just think, I'll save the free hit and if no emergency pops up, that's the week I'll target. That week, Man City have Hull home. Remember, only one chip can be used in a game week, so if you wanted to triple captain Haaland home to Hull, then that's not a free hit option. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe for daily FPL content before you go, and lots of tips to make sure you do well this season. I'll see you soon for the next one.